Welcome to Truckers Voices Podcast. Your host, Tim Taylor, and co-host, Steve Brand. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
This is Danny Smith. Just calling to tell you how much I appreciate listening to your show, Truckers Voices. It's very informative. I really like hearing the drivers' stories, how they got into the trucking industry and maybe what kind of trucks they started out with. And it's just been a lot of fun. And I would encourage any drivers out there to tune in and listen, call in, be a part of it. It's a great show. Thanks.
Hi, this is Scott Post, and I love Truckers' Voices because there's always something entertaining and educational for our industry. And it's also hosted by two of my good friends, Tim Taylor and Steve Brand. Tune in tonight. And in the meantime, be safe out there.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? My name's Charlie Demchuk, and I'm here to welcome you to tonight's big show. Y'all sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Tim and Steve got a good one in store for you. So have a good night. We'll see you.
Well, good afternoon, everybody out there in the trucking world. I hope that you had a good day of trucking today. I know I did. I went up to the Big A and, hey, I did my thing. I took my loads up and I got some loads and I brought them back. So, hey, you know what I did? I'm keeping America moving forward. Hey, tonight we got a special show for you. We're bringing back a guest that we had on a while back. Her name is Kaleigh McCall. All right. I just can't even get my words right tonight. But anyway, hey, we're going to bring her back on. She's been doing some things here lately that's a little bit different than what she was doing last time that we had talked to her. She's still with Snyder, and but there's some other things, and we're going to find out what's going on with her. Hey, I am basically flying solo tonight. My buddy Steve Brand, he is not with me tonight to help me carry the show. He is out there on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean, not caring about a thing about what we're doing right now. So I hope he's having a good time. And I hope, Steve, whenever you go back and listen to the broadcast, I hope that you had a great time. But you are missed, my brother. You are missed. But hey, without further ado, let me bring Kaleigh on here. And I'm excited about what we're going to talk about tonight. But anyway, I'm going to bring Kaleigh on here. Kaleigh, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Hey, everything been going good your way?
It has. It has been going real good.
Good deal. Good deal. Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear the doorbell?
Sure did.
Somebody's at the doorbell. Somebody's wanting to come in and talk to us. Hey, Kaleigh Lynn McLaughlin.
Hi, Kaleigh. Hi, Tim. Now you know why he said Kelly by accident. Almost blew it.
Hey, we set you up, Kaleigh. I called her and I knew Steve was going to be out, so she's going to help me co-host tonight. Okay.
Gotcha.
I don't look much like Steve, and actually, I wouldn't trade places with him. I don't like being out in the middle of the ocean.
So you don't like cruises, huh?
Nope.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for helping me tonight. Sometimes it's hard for me to carry the show by myself. That's why I rely on Steve. Steve is a talker, and that's why I love having him as my co-host, because whenever I have a blank moment up here in his brain, I say, Steve, you got something? And you've heard me say that before. So anyway, and like I said, hey, you know what? the show is so organic. We don't prepare nothing. We just want to have a conversation with other truck drivers out there, and we like to know what's going on. So Kaleigh, so what's going on over at Snyder's these days for you? How's things going over there?
It's going good. We got a brand new pay package that we're working our way through. Most of us are enjoying it. Hadn't heard anything bad about it. We like it. We're liking it pretty good. Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you're seeing anything like I'm seeing in the freight industry, we're actually seeing some freight levels drop. Is that the case with y'all?
Yes, that's from what I'm hearing. It's pretty much across the board. Everyone is seeing a decline.
Yeah. So how does that work over at Snyder? Do your guys just don't get the loads and they just don't go out? What happens?
So I am part of the dedicated fleet. So if what I usually haul is behind or not currently available, we get loaned out to other dedicated accounts, or we run regular van truckload stuff. So we're not sitting still.
Okay. All right. So I see that you're in your truck tonight. Last time I talked to you, you come to us from your house over there in Claxton, Georgia. So where are you at tonight? Well, don't give up that location if you don't want to. I just thought about it. Don't do that. You are in a truck stop somewhere.
Yes.
Good. See, I'm smart. I was thinking about it. I said it, but I caught myself, right? But you're somewhere out there. You're working, and so that's great. So what do you have on your back tonight? You got a container on your back, or you got a 53-footer?
I got a container.
Good deal. So, all right. So, are you still running back and forth to the ports?
I am.
I got you.
I am.
All right. So, have you come up with any other ways? I know last time you was telling me sometimes you have to get creative to get up there and grab those latches. So, is there any more trucking hacks that you can share with us?
Yeah, so if you haul containers like me, other than having just a really big hammer in your truck, I have about a 2-foot piece of metal pipe that fits over the end of the latch to kind of help get a little bit more leverage, get those latches closed. And I've always got a can of WD-40 with me too.
Yeah. This time of year, things are getting cold and everything, and yeah, WD-40 will help you out. And I was saying the other day on one of my morning safety videos that I do every morning, I was just telling everybody, I said, you know what? You got to check those hoses under the hood. When it gets cold, everything expands, and, you may have an antifreeze leak, but you got to check those things out. Because I had that happen to me the other day. I was checking under my hood, and I was like, oh, I got antifreeze coming out. That didn't do it until it got cold. So those are little things that we have got to check out. So let's move on into women in trucking. I really want to focus on that. If y'all heard that, that's the phone that's hooked up to the studio here. It'll do that every now and then, so don't let it distract you, okay? It makes all kind of funny noises. But anyway, let's move on into women in trucking and what's going on over there. I really want to dive deep into that a little bit tonight. So tell me a little bit about what you've been doing with women in trucking here lately. And I have some slides that we'll put up in a little bit, and you can speak to those, okay?
All right. So I hit the ground running back in August. Pretty much immediately started doing events, starting out in Tallahassee. We've done several Girl Scout events. We worked with World of Works out of Alabama. That was a really fun event. Looking forward to doing more of those in the future. We, of course, had our big Accelerate conference in Dallas back in November. That was a blast. Ready to do that again. Now, of course, we've got quite a few things planned for this year coming up that we're trying to get together.
Okay. So the thing that you had going on in Tallahassee, let me just actually put it. Let's go ahead and let me slide over there to that picture, okay? And I want you to tell us a little bit about what you did over there.
Sure thing.
Okay. So there you are, with your truck, with your nice pink steering wheel. So tell us a little bit about that event that you did. Who were you talking to there, and what were you talking to these young ladies about?
So I believe that this was actually one of the so we were at the Tallahassee Community College is where this was at, and I believe this little girl was an instructor's daughter that was there for the event. she's one of a set of twins. And she came in my truck, made herself right at home, climbed up on my bed with her snack. She was ready to watch a movie. That little girl right there was a hoot. I loved her.
Yeah, yeah. And was there an organization there that you were speaking to?
Yes, so it was just the Girl Scouts. There were several troops uh, from the Panhandle area, Florida, and they come over. I believe there was around 30 girls. We had 2 different sessions, one in the morning for the younger group, and then one later in the afternoon for the older girls. They got to come into Whitney. They got to take the trucker DNA quiz, talk to Andy and myself about truck driving. They got to get in the simulator. And so since this was my first event with Whitney, I was still learning it, but since I had my truck there and open for them, I actually spent most of this event in my truck, letting the little girls blow the air horn, showing them, my bed. I had a TV, and it was fun.
Okay. So tell me, what is your main focus when you're there talking to those little girls? What are you talking to them about?
They can do whatever they want to, and not necessarily as a truck driver or even in the trucking industry, just that they shouldn't be scared to do something that they want. Mm-hmm. Whatever their little heart desires, they are perfectly capable of going out there and getting it done.
Right. So this is almost like an introduction to little girls and to the truck, and say, hey, you know what? Even you can be a truck driver one day if you want to.
Exactly.
Now, Kaleigh Lynn, I'm going to let you piggyback off of that a little bit there, because you did a lot of these events also. So, go ahead. Just speak to that.
Well, I like you, I always like interacting with the younger girls and high school kids and just giving them hope, that breaking out of the boxes that sometimes we put ourselves in. And, but so far, what's been your funnest event that you've done so far?
In Huntsville, Alabama, with World of Works. That was a great event. It was a hectic couple of days. I have
no idea what that is. So can you?
Yeah, I know. So they have like tech school type jobs and businesses come in. I mean, it's pretty big. So you'll have nursing, electronics, robotics, earth moving, electrical, all kinds of companies come in there to demonstrate what they do and talk to the kids about it. They also do that in conjunction with a job fair later in the day.
Did you get any recruits?
A few. Most of what I did was in the morning time with the kids. We had about 7,000 in total come through in 2 days. It was a little hectic.
Yeah. Have you been to any events that the Next Gen is there and talk about the under 21 programs for trucking?
I have not. I haven't really talked to anyone yet. I've heard some things, but nothing from them themselves.
Yeah. So, so what has been probably like the biggest surprise that you've had as the driver ambassador for Women in Trucking in Schneider?
I don't know. I don't really think anything's been a huge surprise for me. I'm really doing a lot of the same things I was already doing with Schneider, just on a little bit bigger scale now, which has been fun because I've been able to it's a little bit bigger audience now. Mm-hmm. But nothing so far has been a huge surprise.
Yeah.
Let me jump in there real quick, like Kaleigh Lynn. On that note, whenever you pull the truck in somewhere and set up Whitney, are you setting it up just by yourself?
For the most part, yes. Especially like events that I'm going to by myself, and I don't really have any of our what we call our image team ladies then yes, I'm doing it by myself. But it's easy. The only part that I would typically say, hey, can you come give me a hand with this, are our side stairs, just because that's a 2-person job. Everything else is turning on computers. I might have to plug in something, and most of the time the event space will do that for me. I just pull the cord out and like, hey, here it is when you're ready for it. Even our big back stairs are on a winch system, so I just press the button and lower them down.
Wow. So I've had the opportunity to set up image one with America's Road Team, and it takes 4 of us to set that up because we got the slide outs, we got the stairs. I don't know if you've ever been in it or not, but
I've seen it.
yeah, it takes 4 of us to get that baby set up there. So that's the reason I asked that question. Are you setting that up by yourself? Because
Yeah, mostly.
it's a job. It really is. And I can imagine it's a job, but it's well worth it. Now, in general, at some of these places that you go to, events and all that, who do you have a lot of just women coming through, or do you have a variety of people coming through?
Really, it's a variety. It really is a variety, which I like to see.
Right.
Of course, I'm focusing on women and girls, but I want to talk to everybody.
Right. So what's the percentage of women that's in the trucking industry now? Do you know that number?
As a whole, I'm not sure, but at Schneider, we're up to about 12%, I believe.
Okay. Do you know nationwide, Kelly Lynn?
It depends on who you're talking to, but it's between 10 and 12%. So yeah,
Okay.
and that's a great improvement for Schneider as opposed to 5 years ago. They were down like at 5%. So they've really done a great job changing some of the things they do to make this an easier job for women to enter into, and supporting them and getting the word out that this is a job that women can do, and working with them. People to have flexible schedules and, schedule time at home. And, I know you spend a lot of time talking about how to stay safe on the road. And like one of the things I wanted to ask you was, as you kind of like grown and developed and changed, like your work schedule, how is it, what are the things that you've learned about juggling not only the driving part of your professional career, but the non-driving part? Because some people just may think of us as drivers, right? But a lot of us are multidimensional, and, like look at Tim and Steve, they've got a whole nother, side jam going. So, if you could just talk about how you could do this and have a life and, broaden your professional, goals, right?
The biggest thing I do is I make sure that the two things are completely separate. I work and then I have home. The two don't mix. I make time for home, and I am at home. I am not at home and a little bit in the truck. When I'm at home, I'm there with my family.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you. And I'm kind of going in a different direction here, but we'll come back. Okay. So what kind of truck do you drive?
I have a 22 Freightliner Cascadia.
22 Freightliner Cascadia. Okay. All right. So that's actually your home away from home. I actually seen some of your other videos, and I was, refreshing myself on you and trying to look at. The one thing I do remember is you cook a lot in your truck. You don't eat out a lot, and some of the stuff I thought you're cooking looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So how hard is that to cook out there on the road?
The cooking itself isn't too bad. I just have to keep in mind when I'm like planning out my menu for the week, how easy is this going to be for me to fix in the truck? How is my cleanup going to be after I'm done cooking? Those are things that I think about as I'm picking out my menu. So like I might not do, if I'm going to do like a hamburger or something, I want it pre-patted out before I leave the house. I don't want just a pack of ground beef. I've got to think about stuff like that.
Yeah. So do you have some go-to favorites?
Yes, I like anything that is like a one pot deal, but I'm the same way at home. If it's one pot and done, those are my favorites. Although I have a new favorite now after today, and that was with leftovers. My nose is running because allergies. I had one bagel left and no cream cheese left, but I wanted a sandwich, but I didn't want bread. So what am I going to do now? So I made some tuna salad. Had cut up a cucumber and an onion. So I had tuna salad on a toasted bagel with cucumber and onion. I'll do that again because it was yummy.
Yeah.
Some of our general audience that's not in the trucking industry, they just don't really understand that it's not always conducive for drivers, especially OTR drivers, to get a good meal out there. And ever since COVID, it's even gotten a little bit worse. So, and trying to eat healthy too, out there on the road. That's another thing. So it's a challenge within itself. But you know what we do in the trucking industry, we love. So those little nuances, we always find a way. Saying that, Kaleigh, and I do believe I asked Kelly Lynn this question back last year whenever we had her back on the show. Are you still finding a problem when you're going into some shippers and receivers as far as using their facilities?
I am not having any issues. I have seen other drivers have problems, but the ones that I'm going to most frequently, I'm not having issues. I think the only time recently, and it was mostly just because it was a store delivery type of situation before store hours, so there wasn't going to be any kind of access to facilities. But other than that, I'm not seeing any issues.
Okay, so hopefully we're moving past that. And speaking of issues, how is parking for you? Now parking for me is never no problem because I'm going from terminal to terminal. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, not too long ago, I moved one of the ATA trucks out of San Diego back across the country and did an event over in Vidalia, Georgia with it. And I see that there is a limited number of spaces out there for drivers to park. And I think that's something that we're having nationwide. Do you find a problem sometimes when you're out there at night and you're trying to you're running up against your hours and you're trying to find a place to park?
It can be an issue. I do my very best to plan ahead. Because I'm running dedicated, I'm going to the same places all the time. So I know what's available to me. I know when it starts to fill up, when I need to be parked by. I know if I need to reserve a spot ahead of time. So that's being dedicated works in my favor in that regard. I'm also running pretty much in line with two of our facilities, so parking doesn't tend to be an issue.
Okay.
But it is.
Yeah.
It is, and that's why it's on Pete Buttigieg's radar as well, and it's included in some of the activities that FMCSA is looking at as well.
It is a problem.
Yeah,
not just parking, but safe parking.
Yeah,
is an issue.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to ask you the question as far as, is there any time when you're at a spot that you don't feel safe?
Not now. There have been times in the past, and I've just made sure that I made a little note in my brain and everywhere else that I'm not going back to those places.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I remember from the other interview that we had that you said something about when you walk into a place, you don't make yourself to look approachable. Is that what you said?
I don't. Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yes, you were correct.
So tell me, how do you do that? look,
I think it's just my face. I don't really know. My kids tell me it's my face. But yeah, I don't look approachable in general out in public. It's my RBF, I guess you could call it. But I mean, that's okay. So I don't typically have issues.
I got you.
I don't look nice.
You can call that an inner superpower, Kaleigh.
Yeah, I just don't look nice.
That's not what I meant. I meant you can channel. Don't mess with me.
Yeah.
Now, see, I'm walking into places, and my wife tells me all the time. She said, "You're just too nice to people." It's just me. I just can't help it. I can't. It's hard for. Hey, you got to push my buttons real hard to get me. I'm always smiling, but you got to push my buttons real hard to get me mad about anything.
So what are your other inner superpowers, Kaleigh?
I don't know. That one seems to be a pretty good one.
All right, so that's a good place for me to segue back to what we were talking about with Winnie, and I do want to throw this up here.
Whitney.
Y'all correct me, okay? I'm sorry, Whitney. All right. And hey, tell me about that. Tell me about the name Whitney. Tell me
Whitney,
where that come from.
So a poll was taken for the name, and Whitney was decided upon. So WIT is an acronym for Women in Trucking.
Right.
I think Whitney is the perfect name for her.
Yep. And I love the wrap. I was looking at the wrap on it, and I was like, that is a good looking wrap. So do you pull Whitney with your Snyder truck?
I do.
Okay. All right. So tell us about this picture right here.
So that was actually from that WOW event in Huntsville. These girls were 9th graders, I believe, all from the same school. I don't think any of them made it more than about 2 seconds on that simulator, but they had a great time.
So now on that simulator, do you have a separate computer where you can control the situations? Because I know we do on our simulator. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So you can set them up on different terrains, different paths, and different weather patterns and all that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to play this video right here, and I just want you to speak to this after we play it. Okay.
All right.
Trailer. Also got to get them into the driving simulator to let them know what it's like to drive an 18-wheeler.
Sorry, I got started.
Women in Trucking's 8th annual Accelerate Conference and Expo. As the driver ambassador, it was not only my job to meet and greet guests as they came into the Whitney trailer, I also got to get them into the driving simulator to let them know what it's like to drive an 18-wheeler. It's also my responsibility this week to move the Whitney trailer into and out of the conference area.
All right, so speak to that accelerated conference, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's a huge conference that Women in Trucking holds every year in Dallas. Companies from all over come. They give away free stuff. I think that's everybody's favorite thing most of the time, getting swag from everybody. So there are lots of different breakout sessions. Anything and everything that you would want to know about hiring, retaining female employees, it's there. Any kind of any information or resource that you can imagine, we've got it.
I got you. So at the accelerated conference, so you have breakout sessions. So what happens? Are you just mainly always in Whitney, or do you get to go to any of the breakout sessions?
I do. So we kind of make a schedule with everybody so that everybody gets time to go and see whatever they want to see, do whatever they want to do. I did attend a few of the sessions, and then I was a speaker for one of them. Yeah. The one that I did was like the driver's experience, basically what it's like on the road. I was on that panel with some very great women. Loved speaking with them.
Yeah. So I got a comment. I just threw it. I had to throw it there because y'all can't see who it is, but I actually looked at it on my phone. Laura Cyrus said that Accelerated was a great. We had her on last week. She said it was a great conference there. So anyway, yeah, and you know what? I would love to check out, I'd love to check it out sometime myself, I would actually love to go into Whitney myself sometime. So maybe one day, our paths will cross to where, we can check that out.
Well, wait a minute before you pass up that opportunity, Kaleigh, where are you going to be next? Where can Tim find you?
So the next thing that I'm doing for sure is in March in my hometown. So not too much of a drive for you, Tim.
That's right.
Not too much of a drive for you.
What day
March 11th. March 11th.
March 11th.
Yep. We don't have a concrete location yet. We are waiting on some confirmation on a few of those things, but it's happening. Regardless of location, it's happening.
Is that a weekday or weekend?
Weekend. It's a Saturday. So there'll be a parade that morning, and then the event will be that afternoon.
Okay. All right. Hey.
And then Whitney will also be at Matt's. And
yep.
We were just talking about that prior to this on our image team for Women in Trucking, that she will be there. And are you going to go to Matt's, Tim? What about Steve?
I don't know. I haven't, those requests have to come through at certain times and has to be approved through the chain of command, blah, blah, blah. Steve is real near Matt's up there. So Steve can drive over in about 2.5 hours, but if I get the call, I'll be there. I've actually been to Matt's, once before, and I loved it.
You should do your show from there.
That would be awesome. Yeah. But hey, if Steve goes, we might do a remote show.
Yeah.
So it would be cool. It really would be cool. All right. So let me move into this right here.
Mhm.
Kaleigh, I was privy to listen to you on your speech there. So I'm just going to let you take it away. Tell us what you're doing there. What's that all about?
So I was at the Department of Transportation in Washington, D.C. This was during Driver Appreciation Month and week. Uh, Several of us were there to talk about seatbelt safety in commercial motor vehicles.
Okay. All right. And correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a bill that was being passed to help promote and try to get more women in the trucking? Am I right about that? Or do you know
I'm
anything?
not sure.
I didn't know if the Biden-Harris administration they had mentioned something about that. I don't know if that bill had ever got passed to promote more women in the trucking industry. Do you know anything about that?
I think what you're talking about is an act
Mhm.
that was passed to create women in trucking. The advisory board is called WOTAB, and it's
Yeah.
part of FMCSA. Yeah,
Okay. Are you a part of that, Kayla Lynn?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got
There's
you.
16 women from bus and trucking and all varieties of jobs like leadership of large companies, and it's very specific, the charter on the makeup of that group. But
Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking about. But Kayleigh, I would have been fangirling all over the place because I would get to spend time with Robin Hutchinson, who's the new director of FMCSA. But so what was it like, being in DC and being a representative for all of, our next generation of female drivers?
It was great. It was great. I kind of felt like a baby with everyone else that was there speaking that day. All of them have, 20 plus, 20, 30 years experience. And then there was me with 7. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Well,
like any takeaways from spending time with leaders in a variety of roles in the industry, like what you're hoping that will come to pass for our industry and for women in the industry? And yeah, just trying to pick your brain here and see what your thoughts are.
I'm liking that more drivers are in the public eye. Like, people are getting to see that these trucks aren't out here driving themselves. They're actual human beings behind the wheels of these trucks. That's what I'm liking.
Yeah.
So one of my good friends and fellow road team captains, Rhonda Hartman, was there with you. She gave an awesome speech also. So, and I've been to DC many times also. And it is an overwhelming feeling when you get to speak to some of the public officials that are there and promote the industry that you love. So I want to congratulate you on that. And I did listen to it, and you did a great job. You did an awesome job. So was that your first time in DC, or you've been there before?
I have been there once before when I was in high school, so it was nice to come back again.
Yeah. So DC has changed a little bit since probably you was in high school.
Yeah.
And, all right. Let me play this one right here.
For Women in Trucking. Women in Trucking is a nonprofit organization that encourages the employment, addresses the obstacles, and celebrates the successes of women in the trucking industry.
I got to start it over. I'm sorry, I didn't get it off.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Kaleigh McCall. I am a driver and training engineer here at Schneider. I am also the brand new driver ambassador for Women in Trucking. Women in Trucking is a nonprofit organization that encourages the employment, addresses the obstacles, and celebrates the successes of women in the trucking industry. I am so very honored to have been chosen for this position and plan to spread the message that women can and will continue to be successful in this industry. Be safe out there, drivers.
All right. So, as an ambassador for for women in trucking and the trucking industry, tell us how did you get into that position? What was your qualifications for doing that? Just kind of tell us what the steps were.
So as I've said before, I was kind of doing similar things with Schneider beforehand. I've been a member of Women in Trucking since I started with Schneider in 2020. They called me one day and were like, "Hey, would you be interested in the driver ambassador position?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess." So then they put me in contact with Whit and interviewed and got the job.
Okay. All right. So was there other ladies that was interviewing for it also?
I have no idea.
Do you know Kelly Lynn? Do you know if there's a certain amount of applicants that she was up against?
Nope. I sure don't, but I think Kaleigh is perfect.
Yeah. Well, I asked that question because, whenever we become America's Road Team captains, we have to go through a process of selections. And I mean, whenever I'm on their 2017, 2018 team. And, I had to put in a video speech and had to go through a selection process out of 2,000 people. And then they whittled it down to 30 of us. Then we had to go up to DC, give a speech, do mock interviews, blah, blah, blah. And then they, whittled it down from about 15 to 18 of us, there. It's usually somewhere between 15 and 18 captains they pick every 2 years. So I didn't know if your process was kind of like that or not,
It was super simple, super easy. Yep.
You wasn't nervous. Okay. I guess what I'm getting at is I was wondering how nervous you were.
Not at all.
So do you give speeches sometimes when you go to different places other than, I know you gave a speech in DC, but like at some of the conferences and all?
Occasionally. Of course, those have to be approved beforehand. That's the nature of the job. Mostly, though, I'm speaking one-on-one with people.
Okay. All right. I got you. All right. Kelly Lynn, you got anything?
Well, I was just wondering what your goals are for 2023. What are you looking forward to? What would you like to see happen?
So just doing more events, being out there, putting the public eye on what we're doing, letting everybody see, hey, we're here, we're ready to do these things. We've been doing these things. Look, here we are. That's my only goal.
Yeah. So do you want to do, well, I mean, how does your schedule work? Do you get to do like is one a month doable, or is it more or could you do more than one a month? Or
so if it's interfering with my normal work schedule, one a month. Mm-hmm. Whit gets me for 7 days a month.
Yeah.
Does it ever get to be a little overwhelming at times whenever you're, you got some stuff going on? Hey, you know what? We got to have the truck in, Oklahoma by yesterday. Do you ever have those situations come up?
So I've been very lucky in that my handler, so to speak, I guess is what you could call her, Andrea. She's the director of driver engagement. She handles that type of thing, and she has done a absolutely fantastic job. Okay. She's one of the best I've ever worked with. So
she gives you plenty of time to get it there and get it set up. I know that sometimes whenever these events, I mean, I'm going to tell you, last year, ATA, we did a ton of events, and they were using captains from the current team, captains from previous teams, and and that's what we do. We get it done, and I'm sure that's what you get it done. But sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, But in the end, whenever we get out there, and our main goal is to promote the industry, and I know that that's your main goal too, is to promote the industry, especially in the sector of promoting more women into the industry. And it's a great program. I got some comments out here that's, people are talking about it's an amazing program and all that. So that's absolutely awesome. Let me play one more video, and then, I don't have any more videos, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. We may take some calls if we can get some calls come in, but let me play this last video here. Okay. And then I'll let you speak to this. So is that Accelerate conference there?
Yes, that was from Accelerate.
Okay, all right. So that looks like there's a lot of networking that goes on there.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So a lot of people from different companies and different sectors of the trucking industry there. I actually seen some of Dee Sova, and I seen her on there. And then I know that you all promote a Lady of the Year, Lady Trucker of the Year every year. Is that right? So who is the Lady Trucker of the Year this year? Is that, am I saying it right or am I saying it wrong?
The female driver of the year.
Female driver of the year. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So who is that? Do y'all know?
We don't have one yet for this year.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're announced, I think announced every year in November.
Okay. Who was it for 2022?
I should be able to tell you this.
I'm sorry.
I can tell you 2021.
2021.
That was Miss Peggy Arnold.
Oh, it's Peggy Arnold.
Yeah.
Peggy Arnold was the last female driver, and she drives for
Yellow.
Right.
That's how I know that name. Okay. Yeah. I know that name. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, I don't think we had one for 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but at MATS, Women in Trucking Association is giving away a truck.
Yes, we are. It's a Volvo. It's a used Volvo, but it's in good condition.
Oh, and it's totally blinged out.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the qualifications to get that truck if there's a lady out there that's interested in it?
So the deadline has already passed, unfortunately, but I believe they had to write like an essay type deal and submit it.
Okay.
It's the second time they've done it. And the last truck was pre-COVID, right? And then everything went.
Yeah.
But it's very exciting. I can't wait to see Wensit and hear her story at the, it's called the Salute to Women Behind the Wheel in March.
Okay. All right, listening audience, I'm going to open up the phone line for you all to call in. The number is 251-616-2151. If you got any questions for Kaleigh tonight, I appreciate you calling in, and I'm hoping my phone lines is I hope it's working. A couple of shows ago we had some problems with it, but anyway, I'll just be listening out for it, and we'll talk from here. Go ahead, Kaleigh Lynn.
Well, okay. So while we're waiting for the callers, Kaleigh, I have two questions. One is, what would you say? What's the best thing about trucking? And then the other one is one thing you would like to see change in the industry.
Gotcha. Let's see. I think my favorite thing is the ability to just be by myself for a little while. I'm a mom of 4. I stayed at home with them for most of their lives. So just having time to just decompress and be in my own space is pretty nice. I think the only thing I would like to see change is the public's view of truck drivers.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, so absolutely making the image of the trucking industry a lot better. And I believe that we've got a good step on that because of drivers like yourself and Kaleigh and some of the other drivers that I'm associated with. And the image of the trucking industry is very, very important because, we were all heroes back during COVID. I mean, everybody was singing our praises, and then it seems like it's all just kind of like people's taking us for granted, and they really take us for granted out here on the highway sometimes, the way they drive around our big trucks, and they just don't understand what kind of weight we're hauling. And I'm sure, Kaleigh, you experience that. You coming through Atlanta like I do. I mean, people will come across all 4 lanes of traffic just to get off the exit. And I'm like, could you not stay behind me for 5 seconds and get off them? But they will risk their life. Say again?
They got to be in front of you.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. So tell me some challenges that you have while you're out there driving sometimes.
most, it's how unaware the general motoring public is of what's going on around them. They have no idea how close they are to death on a daily basis.
Right. And when we see it all the time, we see accidents all the time. I mean, I had a guy not too long ago that I think he fell asleep. He was in a box truck, and he went across all 3 lanes of traffic, jerked it back to the right, hit the guardrail, went through the guardrail, rolled the truck. I got stopped. I was, first one down there to him, and diesel was leaking everywhere. Normally, you don't want to mess with somebody when something like that's happened, but I had to get him out of that truck because diesel was going everywhere. So they just don't know. They really don't know the dangers of the highway and the dangers they put themselves in, and that, they put us in also. So anyway, what would you say to a young lady that is contemplating, let's just say hypothetically, she's in high school, she's contemplating getting into the trucking industry. What would you say to that young lady?
To do it. Even if she decides, if she goes the driver route, gets into it and decides that maybe that's not particularly what she likes, she doesn't have to be a driver. She can move into a different position still in the industry. She could be dispatcher, she could be a broker, she could work in IT, she could work in accounting. So many options out there.
Driver health.
Yeah, and that's what I tell everybody. You can be a part of this industry. You don't have to be a truck driver. There's over 7 million people in this industry, and it's not all trucker drivers, because I know the numbers for truckers. There's only about 3.6 million of us. Might be a little bit over that now. And then of course we got an aging population of truck drivers. And let me ask you this question. I know that there was being some talk about, pushing 18-year-olds to get their CDLs and all that. What's your opinion on that?
Currently 18 years old are allowed to get their CDL. They just can't drive over state lines. I honestly don't think that it's a problem. I mean, if they're having to go through the same vetting processes that everyone else is to get on the road and drive with a trucking company, do it. I mean, like you said, we have an aging population of drivers that are getting ready to retire and go home and send their recliners. So we need drivers.
Right. And I think that, we missed for so long their age gap there, because they were getting out of high school, going straight into college. And we missed a group of people there that can go into the military at 18 and maneuver all this heavy equipment. I know there's, it's going to take that special person to get in the trucking industry at 18 to go across, state lines. But I believe if they're vetted right, they have the right training, they got people with them, they got a certain amount of hours behind them, I believe that it is a good thing, in my personal opinion. Now, there's going to be some people that's going to say, no, you should never put an 18-year-old behind the wheel. They're too dangerous. They're too distracted. But look, hey, I grew up on the farm. I was driving a tractor at 11 years old. So there's kids this day and time. You got kids that are different, but you got some that, that they're cut out for this. That's what their mom did. That's what their dad does. That's what their granddads did, So, I believe that they can handle it.
I agree. And, the 18 to 21-year-olds, the current curriculum, they actually get better training, more training, more hours. So I think they would probably come out better suited, better trained than your typical over 21 CDL new hire.
Yeah.
Right. So how does if there's any female listeners out there, whether you're listening live now or if you're listening back on the podcast, what can she do to get involved with women in trucking?
Go to our website, womenintrucking.org. All the information you need is right there. There is a small membership fee. It's a yearly fee. Hardly anything. Join us. I mean, we want to be there for you. We want other people to be there for us. We're there for each other.
What are the benefits for a female trucker to be a part of Women in Trucking?
It depends on which area she's in. We got a lot of resources for owner operators, women that are thinking about becoming owner operators. Of course, we have information and resources for company drivers as well. Anyone that's in the industry, they don't have to be a driver. Just come join us.
Yeah, and the Women in Trucking has a really great portal for drivers if you want, questions you want to have answers to. I forget what the frequently asked questions section, and lots of great informational videos. And for me, networking has been one of the best things about joining and getting involved with Women in Trucking, and learning about all the other different facets that are involved in this industry. I'm just working in one tiny part, but it's been a great chance to connect with others. And I met Kaleigh through Schneider, but I would have met her through Women in Trucking.
Eventually.
Hey, got a great question here from Laura Sires, and she says, "I can't call, but 2 questions for you. One fun question: favorite meal to make while you're out."
My favorite thing to make. Let's see. I really like stir fry type things, and kind of like a cheap, quick thing. I'll get a bag of. I can't remember what it's a mix that you can get at Walmart, but it's different kinds of cabbages and Brussels sprouts and stuff like that you can use. And then I'll get a couple of boneless pork chops and a pack of ramen noodles. I'll cook my noodles and I'll fry my meat and stir fry my vegetables, mix everything together. That's one of my favorite things to eat.
Okay, the second
mine's very close. And I take a chopped avocado, I squirt it all over with lime and a little bit of salt. And then I add in wild rice that I've pre-cooked, sliced almonds, and then chicken if I have it. Sometimes I don't have it, and then tomatoes. And it's kind of like a quinoa bowl, except it's wild rice. Super easy and great for you.
All right. So the second part of that question is, what can the non-trucking but pro-trucking everyday person do to support drivers?
Be aware of their surroundings. Seriously, just when you're out driving around every day, what's going on around you? Is there a truck over there? Do you maybe need to wait a little bit longer before you get back in front of them? Do you need to put more space? Do you need to give them more space to stop? Am I coming up to this red light and it's red, or it's about to turn red and there's a truck behind me? Are they going to be able to stop? Just be aware. Be aware.
Be aware. That's right. And give us more space.
Yes.
That's a law. That is the law. You got to give these trucks more space because, we take more time to turn. It takes us longer to make the turns. If you can just wait 10 seconds before you try to cut in on that right side, just give us more space. But that's good advice. That's very good advice.
I would add, learn to yield legally. Merge legally.
Interstates, yes.
Yes. So I think the general public, either they ignore, the yielding laws, or they just don't know.
They don't know. They don't know. They have no idea.
That's right. That's right. So tell me a little bit about again what's coming up with Women in Trucking in the future.
So we've got a bunch of events planned. The biggest one is MATS, of course. So if anyone's planning on going, come by and see us. We'll be there. Come by, check out Whitney, get in the simulator. Even if you're already a driver, it's a different type of driving of that simulator. It's not the same.
Right.
Well, and she's just so flash and beautiful. Yes. And, I'm sure you just really groove and jive on being able to haul her around. And
she's a great photo opportunity.
Yes, she is. She is. All right. Somebody's calling my regular phone. I can't answer that regular phone. I don't know what's happening there. So anyway, I want to say hello to Gina Jones. She's watching. She drives for Warner. Gina, thank you for watching. I think I seen something. She got some awards here lately. I'm not real sure. She had some kind of recognition, but I know who she is. She's America's Road Team captain also. So she's an awesome driver too. So congratulations, Gina, on some of your success. Well, we are coming up to the top of the hours. Either my phone's still messed up or nobody called. So I don't know. I don't know. I got to get this phone situation. By the way, see my phone's ring. My regular phone's ringing again too. Hey, viewers, if you're trying to call me, I can't answer my regular phone right now. So you'll have to call on the other line that's on the screen, and I believe that's what you're trying to do. But somehow it's linking to my regular phone. I do apologize. I'm gonna get this figured out sooner or later. I moved everything upstairs. I got a new desk, blah blah blah, and now I'm
No, I
winning.
thought you had a new surrounding.
Say again.
I thought you had a new surrounding.
Yeah. I got kicked out of the other office down there. I was taking up too much space on my wife's stuff down there. So anyway, but it's been a great show tonight. I do appreciate Kaleigh, you coming on. And here, hey, the phone's working. Hold on, let's take a call. Hello, you're on Truckers Voices. Who do we have?
Scott Post.
Can
Good evening, Tim.
can y'all hear him?
Yes.
Oh, it's working! Yay! All right, Scott, how you doing? Where are you at, Scott?
I'm at home right now. I made it home for the evening, and go out again tomorrow. We've got a trainee to get ready to work for us, doing some orientation, and we should be able to turn them loose tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, that's great. Hey, was you trying to call just a minute ago by chance?
Yeah, I figured maybe I was just back in line, so I just figured I'd keep trying till I got my nose under the tent or something like that. So,
well, I think it's got something to do with Google Voice. It's going on both of my phones, so I think it's got something to do with it. I forget to figure it out. Hey, so what do you have? What do you have for Kaleigh tonight?
Oh, I want to thank both of Kaleigh and Kelly Lynn both for what you've contributed to trucking. I think when there's maybe I sound a little old school, but I think when you've got women in trucking, it brings a degree of extra respect for our industry, and I think it helps set some professional standards for all of us, and that benefits and makes it better for all of us. And I just want to say thank you for everything you've done and contributed to the trucking industry.
Thank you as well.
Thank you, Scott. That's really nice to hear.
So, Scott, what's the weather like where you're at, brother?
Oh, we're down to about 28 degrees. It quit snowing. We got a little bit of wind, and guys just stopped over, plowed the driveway. So we got a couple inches of snow today. And, I think we've had about 40 inches so far this winter already. But supposed to start getting a little cooler next week, but a little less snowfall, and that'll make the roads a little safer. Saw a lot of spinouts in the ditch today, and we just be nice to maybe have some more normal roads tomorrow.
Right. Well, it's got back up into the 70s around here. So anyway, it was nice today. But we did have some little cold snap last week, didn't we, Kaleigh?
Yep, we did.
It was cold. Scott is a very great supporter of the show. I appreciate you calling, Scott, and you stay safe out there, brother.
Okay, you too. Thank you, and everybody be safe out there and have a good evening.
All righty, bye-bye.
All right. Scott actually drives for FedEx Ground. Great friend of mine there. So anyway, it's 8:58. I do want to address one comment here, and I'll tell you who this is. Well, no, she will come up there. Her name will come up there. She's an amazing interview. I'm so glad that you both are strong female leaders in the industry. Thank you, Kaleigh McCall and Kaleigh Lynn McLaughlin. So clue me in on who this is.
So that is Andy, who I talked briefly about earlier. She is our director of driver engagement at WIT. She's my handler, and sometimes I can be a lot to handle, but she does a spectacular job of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll speak to Andy right now. Andy, you got some great representatives for you for women in trucking, and more beyond that, you got some great professionals for the industry there. So I thank you, and I appreciate Kaleigh, you coming on again. we don't always have everybody back on twice. So if you've been on my show twice, you've done something right. So anyway, it was great having you on there. I was trying to make sure I didn't miss anything here, but we're going to close the show out. Any parting words to the audience before you go? Any words of wisdom to them, Kaleigh?
Be safe out there.
How about you, Kelly Lynn?
I would say take care of the drivers around you. We need all the help we can get.
That's right. And we need to promote this industry, and we need to try to do what we can do to help fill that gap, because we do have a portion of our industry that is aging out and going elsewhere. So we got to do something to get some more people in here in the seats. So anyway, thank y'all very much. Scott Post, thank you for calling. Thank you everybody for listening in tonight. Steve will be back with me next week, and we'll have another show. But as I always say, look out for those who aren't looking out for themselves. Panel, if you'll hold tight before we end the broadcast, I'll come right back to you and we'll go off the air here in just a minute. Okay.
All right.
Thanks again.